Okay, we're going to begin with lesson 10.4. We're moving on to finding the area of a circle. In the last lesson we found the circumference, the distance around a circle, but this time we're going to find the area of a circle. Now what you're going to need to know about finding the area of a circle, first of all, we're going to draw a circle. And the formula for drawing the area of a circle is pi times, so area is equal to pi times radius squared. Now I have you put that into your red folder first of all, so stop and pause that and put that into your red folder so you have that written down. And then we're going to have you recopy just this part into your lesson for today as well, so you have it in two places. So area is equal to pi times radius squared. Now we're going to use an example of having a circle with a 2-inch radius. So our circle with a 2-inch radius is going to be, we're going to say pi, which is equal to 3.14 times the radius squared. Now radius squared is saying like 2 times 2. And since 2 times 2 is, we know, 4, we're going to multiply 3.14 times 4. And we're going to move off to the side and do that. So 3.14 times 4. And you can stop a moment, grab a calculator. You can do your calculations on calculator just to make it a little bit more efficient. So we're going to say 3.14 times 4, which is equal to 12.56. So 12.56, and so we're going to say that that's equal to 12.56, and so our area, is equal to 12.56, but we have to label this inches squared. Okay, and so this goes in your red folder. Put that example into your red folder, and then we're going to start our assignment on page 494. So go to page 494 for our assignment. And you can stop and pause this video to catch up anytime. Starting with number 1, we're going to take a look at a little bit of just kind of practice vocabulary. Again, put this into your red folder. That should be in your red folder. But we can use the expression pi r squared to find the blank of a circle. Pi r squared is used to find the area of a circle, and we're going to box that in. So that's our answer for number 1. Now number 2, we're going to find the area of a circle described to the nearest tenth of a unit. So we're going to find the area, and then we're going to round it to the nearest tenth. So the first thing we're going to do on all these problems is we're going to first of all draw a circle that is described, and this circle has a radius of 3 millimeters. So draw your circle, and draw it at least big enough for 2 lines. You can make it a little bigger if you want to, but not smaller than that. And then our formula is area is equal to pi, write that down each time, times radius squared. And since we know that radius squared is 3 times 3, there's our radius, we know that 3 times 3 is 9. So we're going to have pi times 9. Now from there you can take your calculator and calculate that out, so it's cleared out. So 3.14 times 9 is equal to 28.26. So 28.26, and we want to round that to the nearest tenth. So we take a look, the nearest tenth. 2 is in the tenths place. So we say, is that closer to 2 tenths or 3 tenths? The 6 tells us that's closer to 3 tenths. So we're going to round that to 28.3 tenths. So we're going to say our final answer is area is equal to 28.3 tenths millimeters squared. And box it in. Let's go on to number 3. We're going to have, in this case, we have a circle with a radius which is equal to 2 kilometers. So 2 kilometers. So draw your circle, and then our formula, area is equal to pi times radius squared, and of course this one is going to be exactly like the one that we did in our journal. We're going to have pi times 4, which is going to equal to 12.56, but we have to round this to the nearest tenth. So in this case, we want to say, is that closer to 5/10 or 6/10? And we know that that's closer to 6/10, so we have 12, our area is equal to 12.6 kilometers squared. And we're going to box that in. Let's go on to number 4. Number 4, we're going to draw a circle with a diameter of 17 feet. So there's our center, and then our circle diameter is 17 feet. And we know that our area in this case is equal to, write that down, pi times radius squared. Just we practice that a lot, as much as possible. And radius squared, we want to know if the diameter is equal to 17 feet, that means the radius has to be half of that. So you want to know what is half of 17. So 17 divided by 2 is what? Now if you said 8.5, you are correct, but now we have to square that. So we have pi times 8.5 squared. Now that means 8.5 times 8.5, and again you can use your calculator for that. So stop and do that. 8.5, punch that into your calculator, times 8.5, and what do you get? You should get 72.25. So 72.25, but we're going to multiply that times pi. So 72.25 times 3.14. So we have 3.14 times 72.25. And you're going to punch that into your calculator. And I'm going to run out of space down here, but you're going to get an answer of 226.865 is what you should have gotten. And you want to round that to the nearest tenth. So we're going to say it's closer to 8/10 or 9/10. And if you said that that was closer to 9/10, you are correct. So we're going to put it, because I'm out of space, I'm going to put down my area is equal to 226.9 feet squared, and box that in. Now let's go on to the next problem. Number 5, we have a circle with a diameter of 24 yards. So a diameter of 24 yards. So we want to get our formula for area is area times pi times radius squared. Put that down every single time. And then we have radius squared. Well, if our diameter is 24, what does that make our radius? And if you said half of 24 is 12, it would be 12 squared. You are correct. And now 12 squared is 12 times 12, and you probably know that by heart because you know your basic facts. So 12 times 12 is 144, of course. So we have pi 3.14 times 144. So you can use your calculator for that. 144 times 3.14, and you should have gotten 452.16. Now if you did get that, but you have to round this to the nearest tenth, so what I'm going to say is that closer to 1/10 or 2/10? And of course the 6 tells us that it is closer to 2/10, so we can say that our area is equal to 452 2/10 yards squared. And we box that in. Now number 6 is has kind of multiple parts to it. We have a school orchestra, and we want to make a circle graph to represent the data in the table. So we have a data, and the number of students we have 7/20 of 6th graders. Our 7th graders are 2/5, and our 8th graders are 1/4 of our orchestra. And we want to make a pie graph to illustrate that data. And we've done pie graphs before. So we're going to put this information, first of all, we have them all into fractions. So we're going to put our data into a decimal number. So I'm going to put my data right straight across, so 7/20 and 2/5 and 1/4. Well, 1/4, I know that that's 0.25. 1/4 is like a quarter, 25 cents. And I know if I have 2/5, I can make that into, if I multiply this times 2, that gives me 4/10, and 4/10 of a dollar is 40 cents, so 0.4. And if I multiply 20 times 5 and 7 times 5, that gives me 35 hundredths. And 35 hundredths of a dollar is like 35 pennies. So 35 pennies would look like 35 hundredths. So we have all of our decimal numbers for that data. Now we know that for every one, I'm going to put this into percents first of all. So this is 35%, and this is equal to 40%, and this is equal to 25%. And we want to take all of our percents and multiply them times 3.6 to get how many degrees we're going to make our circle graph, our graph. So let's do that with our calculator. So 35 times 3.6, that gives me 126 degrees. 40 times 3.6 is 144 degrees. 25 times 3.6 is equal to 90 degrees. And if we add those three together, 126 plus 144 plus 90, that actually gives us exactly 360 degrees. So we know that that completes our circle. So we need to, we're going to stop and pause this for a moment. You need to get some paper to make your circle graph. Okay, we're going to continue on here. We're going to take our compass, and we're going to draw a circle graph. And again, we know that the first thing we have to do is to mark our center point. We do that, and then we're going to draw a circle. You can use the whole sheet if you want to. You can use just part of it. The circle can be the size that you want it to be. There you go. And then we have to make sure our center point's there. And then we're going to take our protractor and draw a radius, a line of radius. And our 3 degrees, we have one that is 90, so that's pretty easy to find out, to draw. So we line our protractor up on the line, the center point, and we mark our 90 degrees. There we go. And then our next number of degrees, we have 126 or 144, and I'm going to go with 126. You can use either one. 126, we line that up, and we go past 90 to 100, oopsie daisy. We go past 90 to 120, 125, 126 right there. Put a little mark, and then we are going to connect our line of radius. So we have the 6th grade We're going to make a